binds us is the negotiated and signed conditions of service that is peculiar to the Medical Association and its members. As far as I'm concerned, the ground rules for the negotiations have stated clearly that maximum 1 month, this should be off the table. The General Assembly has also spoken. Beyond that period, we are not going to call any General Assembly meeting again. We've decided that the Takrady decision has been moved forward by a month. Specifically, it will end 18 hours, 29 July 2015. If by that period, the employer has not completed negotiations plus the signing of the document with us, what is going to happen is that the first 1 week, there's going to be withdrawal of OPD service. The second week, we'll have withdrawal of OPD and emergency services. The third week, we'll have a total withdrawal, and that will culminate in the final bits of the decision making, that is the resignation en bloc. So now, what the General Assembly has done is that they spelled out the processes. That is what is going to happen.
Imagine I collapse whilst operating on a patient, and the hospital will need to call my wife, who is outside this country, to come and buy me medications before I survive. These are the conditions under which many of us work every day, that we have to foot our own hospital bills, even when we get injured at the very hospitals in which we work. And we've looked at people who actually comes from these same ministries, from government agencies, draws on the same public purse. All right, they are all paid from the same place. And these guys come to our hospitals, the same Ministry of Health, foot their bills just because they hold certain positions, which, with all due respect, does not even compare to the work that many of these doctors do today. So I think that the morale among doctors over the years has been very low. And if time had permitted, I would have shown you my appointment letter when I completed medical school. It was stated as part of the third sentence that the board will later decide my conditions of service. And as I speak to you today, just last month was 10 years when I completed medical school. And I'm sure those who worked even 10 years before me would have also had the same letter. And I think that the way to boost the morale of workers is to give them a better conditions of service, which we don't have. We don't have conditions. It's not as if we are calling for a good or a better or the best conditions of. We've never had conditions. And I think it's an indictment on even us as doctors that with our level of education over the years, we've worked, we've sacrificed without all these conditions. Well, my expectations is that government would accept the magnanimity of the General Assembly of the Ghana Medical Association and work within the 30 days to ensure that we wouldn't come to the decision that the AGM took today, which I think will be unfair to the general population.
It's not about more money, it's about conditions of service. And every world knows about what goes into conditions of service. When you are engaged, you have a condition that governs your relationship with your employer, which we do not have as doctors. And I hope and believe that by the end of this 30 days period, it will come into force. And indeed, the rules of engagement states that it's not just about signing a piece of document, but then it's coming into force with the signatures that will go along with the document.
About for one other room, I need person, Ebro. Me don't mind the combination. If we say copy, say, no, Kurubo, cash, or Bossa, Advertisement, July 1, ye wo ehihye sonko kra e de ma say Badwam ye de bro on a special edition nyame adma echiranti. You can't miss it. Make sure say echina ode ho ebedo ma say you asochi say me ton me dan 3 master bedroom with 20 kVA genset air condition our dining in mechanized borehole so open so free our takra de woni je ho open so free mo number we so 0207996641 0207996641 ibm 0207996641 3 master bedroom takra de woni je ho genset air conditions or dining in am and afi mechanized borehole. The number is 020-799-6641. Now, only minis also come out. Well, Ebra social care about clinic father reminding pensimu Ebro or text message line here 1760. But quickly, Enkujina Jaboso Niema, Deputy Minister, Lands and Natural Resources, Kwabena Minta Kando, Yamana Kwaba, Ebra Yeshe, Alexander Afenyo Markin, Yeshe and Nimson also. Eba beka yensa ewa all about kwa bibia boko ministry boko nyame adom boko constituency say nyame adom if all weekends yeah in fact me free constituency Sunday. Okay, but it has been in the news matters relating to galamsey in small scale mining is animal as a mokono enu hoyi moko enko anase dem we share some documentaries that China for me to you know. Meaning to a part of the business. So amount for fees or more edit to an illegal business by Ghana for being crown a pre-prima a home sense. How is the ministry trying to it has nothing to do with our ministry. Be about more person who used to work on beyond what apply to the Ministry of Interior. Na omashe the entire person we should work in Ghana ni bia na omashe se wo se wo fata your age limit bia na ya granted say obetumi di tu abon ho ban. What apart from that na so we should work on na say tua enya dia e famra kwan so they know that it has nothing to do with your ministry no. Ministry no challenges are on the door so especially mining aspect no galamsey na ekoso no egusu a ye hye niema aye tu sisa pa over the last 1 or 2 weeks, my minister, myself, and the other colleague, deputy minister, and then chief director, and the Minerals Commission, see, for that, inaugurated committees, a friend of district mining committees. So, what's the main fan say, Jaboso? Na galamsey, because now we're trying to say. Ministry name fan formra and son of our fight galamsey. Clearly now you DC or wana person be perform or part of the Ajuma was away. It's an illegality simple. Nti oye DC now you're the chairman of Dissect L district anymore. As an illegality be a BCB no, you must clamp down on it. Nti when you say okay, ebia na was say a question nti in the various districts no, you say what we call the district mining committee. Institutional representation so we are including the chiefs more representation our committees no so and the DC BR and the chairman of the committee EPA Minerals Commission assembly representative na omusan the power to co-opt other members on board. What the I was saying and say bibi koso within that particular district na any council mo try akra and some more active because I believe say every district be a police command our district name. This year the adini nyina ko bom na yes centralizing na ekono be yedin. They be say decentralize ekono. Of course e ko beyond the limit and also the strength of the district there. Na ye wo nkran no na ye ko boa. But en ko beyond there. I will say it me contain ekono e wo ba bia e wo bia. Nti ye tusu sa papa. Ye enya dia ya relax kra. E ya dia ye tusu sapa and never be why into me fan to ja because never ye gu akwan ma ye compa over the me won no one me say microphobic ko dwabo so ana district mom kwakoye illegal mining. Quickly the police apprehended them and they arraigned them before court. I'm saying Tuesday. They were remanded and they are reappearing before the court. But
okay, but
sometimes no, it has to do with education kakra, gidi kakra. Untumi emfa gidi nkwa enkoko. No one strategize so as also metran kan ha na strike here you will fail.
Okay, so insuye bi da galamsey and a small scale.
Yes, thank you for that particular question. Mining on its own in yade boni. Mining yade bi contribute significantly to the economy of this country. So nti ye encouraging crowd so omonye mining, but so who ye mining na wan fa kwan papa so na woni hu nkrata na e friend galamsey no and ye illegal. So but the uncle bi ho mu small scale miners omo wo omo nkrata omo di omo dwuma and wo nkrata na kwa district bi amu a also wo nkrata na kwa kire mpanyifo no mo ho no the DC when who say o maba me ba be ye adwuma wo ha me nkrata ni you meet the community wo social responsibility was away ye one meeting committee no omo aka na asha say ye adwuma. The only problem ye with the small scale miners I did be a ebinom ehun so so ye dem ni say a minimum we small scale miners so degrade environment na omo reclaim land no.
But omo 2 minutes omo year adwuma no.
Omo 2 minutes omo year adwuma no. With conditions I was say omo reclaim land no. And na ubaje permit say kokona kotu former good year. We need permit bia say kona ko say nsuo. Nobody will give you that permit. You be kono na nsuo bi na why poto. Who be say na was me permit. Nobody, and I'm saying nobody can give anybody a permit say koko say nsuo. It is a small scale miner. I was saying when you have a source of water, in fact, for me, I even humbly suggest to some small scale miners, look, and it is your responsibility to be 2 borehole crime community. Now when you have now the year with it is small scale miner, no matter how genuine your documents are, you have no power. We need your BR rights over saying you BR. But small scale mining, and again, per the laws of this country, no, foreigner be anywhere watch our small scale. Into be our foreigner now ordinary who could just small scale mining mono. Just say wire coin. Was a mrano and any D than you know. Inti Yeguso a corner easy, but I think that Yegusua fine.
Okay, so some of your text messages about quickly Mekama Medika catch was very unusual. Of a Futu MP, no, but I don't know. So there's a third time.
Then it's not unusual.
Very usual of the Futu MP. It's the third time. To his friend, they be any seat in the down check a class.
But before so, I mean take advantage when I mention we no. Before Parliament, and yet the Mrabinsa Koto, and also boy and Yakon. Galamsey no. Okay. Marano they was saying say obi o wa ya chenkrofo na e de o makọ court no e bia na afane nipa no 1,000 Ghana cedis. Nipa no ko adwuma ba ko no number 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Oso ko jeni
1,000 Ghana cedis. Mo nu ba ko ko. We are the Marana to us in the Bebema stiffer punishment. They are confiscating your equipment and so
one historical fact Ghana cannot deny is her 7 notice after self-rule in 1957 to achieve a higher transformation of the lives of their citizens in 10 years, when other nations have chalked the same success in 100 years. However, 55 years after her republican status and are possessing vast economic potential, our present-day living is nothing but the over-reliance on the use of what can aptly be described as refuse-done materials from the West, thus exposing how impoverished we are. Can we therefore honestly and justifiably lay any claim to be champions of African excellence? Kwaku Dawson, Cape Coast. A coward's gun is emptied when fear pulls the trigger and hate is the ammunition of choice. Honorable Escobar, Donko Ewo, Sefi Bebieni. Nana, I keep on praying for our nation, Ghana. I like your prayers. We a boy, please, who won Okaikwe South in the MPP primaries? Richard. And please remind tell Dr. Opuni that Samuel Boy Mumuni Prestia and Kwanta Cocoa Road needs immediate attention. If not more cocoa will get rotten. Clement Nadibiaba. And Anaya, may I know the actual date for the national service registration from Opucho Bechem in the Bronga Half region? And I was Nana, what's happening in the human sector about doctors fighting for their own interest. The same is with veterinary doctors. Ignoring of veterinary technicians, our salaries are very, very bad. I have worked for 10 years and take home $750 after tax deduction. Okay, so risking our lives. Why? Maoli Nadiaba. May I know the actual date, another petition itself? And this one also gets through to say, please, a fire serviceman has, oh, no. Okay, truth is always truth. The doctors need better conditions of service rather than the way the government continuously deceive them because they suffer a lot in this country. Raman Otechiman. If the Deputy Minister of Education and his ministry had better things for the BEC students, it should have been done earlier and his president should have known. I'm enjoying your program from Techiman intact. The combination of the two of you is like preparing Kati and Kwai with Amokuya meat. Everyone the menu as from Kwai no paying. What? Saliva no I'm not toothing sana. Abo afenyo marking. Good morning, you look very dull. And what's the problem? Any domestic challenge?
Oh, mine. But that's it.
The question was any domestic challenge.
Don't you think it's very difficult to declare the domestic challenges on
No, it is a very fair question. They say
highly unfair.
No, we say the question was because of the name, domestic challenge here, anything these stress. Because as the profession as a lawyer, I say be anyone on probably so, but I'm asking to domestic challenge be now, and it's my reflecting what we need to do. It's just a fair question. Yes, no, we are not bound even to respond.
Well, my all conclusion in America is I'm not bound to respond.
My trim want to get any more.
But that's it. Oh, but I mean, if man the man, I ended up. Yeah, you call a workshop wada.
Okay.
Them a banking laws it was consolidate.
Yeah.
Into the whole of the weekend you wada. And opportunity to I remember TV3 for morning show. Then I went back. If you want me sign back, more pre-trial. If we are by 2 o'clock. If you chambers by 2 a.m. because of the Supreme Court cases are the issue and no pay a file. But text now Dominic Azimam okay 7:30.
Okay.
Until me do have before 7:30. Until say ekade Sebio my later.
It was
one home because me there start to program say na happen 8:30 would be extend cause 8:45. Until me do have late. So when I start in time because producer 7:30.
Okay.
Me do na me trend. Me do at 7:25.
But the law profession is one of the best in the world. Because putting up defense to confuse your judge and situate your case and say that is the reality. No, the law profession has always been the best.
I just saw home. I've been watching his back. I can't be unusual. Nature that's all the usual. So in Kobnaze, the way I'm in Kobnaze,
but card them on condition. Then you make you want to
statement
no team. Statement nankasankasa no team. Statement. Or can usual.
Usual.
Usual. I had 3 times.
Or you put up a
difference. I had 3 times.
No, first time walking. No, nankasa Dominic McCutcheon Dominic. TV3 Monday and upon. Oh yeah, Adni the one and I bought Chadin. Until to me, we 7 days. Until we are on the Tuesday, can be out of my mouth. We take a small break in my you may be good. No pay. Oh mine. Yes, yeah, no correct. I'm missing sure. More concerns what I show. Oh yeah, what text.
Yeah.
Only be a watch your book, but you not time. Once all the be a new bank, you won't jump walk a cab.
That's it.
But we praise you. I mean,
but this platform is a very powerful.
A very big one. I mean,
Tamale. Na me do a regional coordinating council when me there my batan obi enyim. You will ma be honorable no watch him. To me done who am na Adom TV na me no. It's a very powerful.
The one Adom TV and the president or you know, who is the deputy minister. Anyway, I no pay me mean chia. You know no ma ferfo.
Any matter again.
Yes. two issues. Two issues. Last month, Yen Honorable Deputy Minister for Fisheries, Okitidua, Honorable Okitidua, you be saying about them color now blue color now oside ibimbe. Now that for one season we na year kwe. Into Mr. Premix in more kono onso. And the way I on normal small girl never. In fact, and there for some time. Now me ta criticize one power in Kankamu constituency. In fact, many approval penny no one constituency. Me ni share. In commodity mu de ni baby me to me blame na supi because more ban onso. Into a man for what try there. What move be naze ana what must small girl naze ba. Into yes after all subsidies in people way if you one season meaning nim that for the whole year then one best season in the midtime ya capim August so when yes car what the cow and what's so bossa na wobon is one or ye were friend then compound interest them compound interest or you a couple bossa 1 million and 100 Ghana what two what the is 50 Ghana with this one for 1 month. I'm telling you, I mean, I've equal what brepa. A book of say 100 Ghana. That should be a 50 Ghana. On year microfinance for no. Obi another one is one name. No say there.
But it's legal. It's not illegal. But
well,
that is the reality.
Well, we are in the informal sector. Informal sector is over 60% of our economy. If one of the business in the world, into no war bread, into Mr. Premix no. Minister for Fisheries, Auntie Sherry,
yeah, Sherry.
But Abanin Minister for Petroleum, one share premix and affair for Wonya. Number 2, Adom Motors. Match there, Abanin your friend and Adom Motors in Biaba. Unkofupi one if I say, or it's your chair, one share corner wobber for that. Unkofu Benya, one Adom Motors in a why ye Juma. And the Ebuano so and there was season one Ebuan Libes Ebuan and Keten Fisheries Commission. What they will see to the order up to now. What order and 1 hour season one Ebua, one to Munquejuma, Winniba, Elmina.
It was resolved when they called in to say that they
thank you. What kind of 1 year? Mankasa Marco one office what tema several times. Because you see, Omahin no quasi yanka. It's the Mazi, it is illegal. By an ally. Now it's the more monofilament net more use. Now a kafa multifilament zaba. Now some multifilament nankasa su only marketer. If friend you know better than a wako ebu.
Yes, the Juma to see no.
Ne Juma to see. Inti yes right. Yenyanum I care for you for inflation me. I for one problem. Bakade okodo mesre. Eyi onye simpankote eko eyi wo friend then eyi major chrome kita honum apofuni nyina ze ba pampram eze ba teshin nungwa all the way to eyi nzema honum wo bre papa afarfo wo bre woni okamafo nti esre aben one net na wo ke season na won wa wo kwa toto wo ye libres na ade no wo be den na wa ye dwuma wo be den na wa ye wo be den we pay school fees wo be den na wa ko hospital wo be den na we tua won ka nkofo won ya masisi ho one born and bay. Into Fisheries Commission for now, what I was say, what the Ebuan Reba, what shall we import the Abana affair for Winyan? Yes, sir. 1 share 1 year. Now, Uncle bread. Madasi.
Okay, all right. Any other matter?
Yes, about new EC boss.
Yeah, sure.
No, sure. New EC boss. Omayin, Mr. Timye na Anjima Nisi Bon. Number 1, minyi mamen, minyi bibia su tiel, mezenye Ghana Constitution. Asamen no our court into American court asamen.
But court.
Oye the mode of appointment, whether how a certain provision in the Constitution must be interpreted. Mpocho aminye register ni lawyer. Inti na message the American.
The important na okopel court.
No, omayin mpocho.
No, pese the important na ko dom court.
Omayin ye ken wo asempa.
No, lo abu am kakra chi.
Okay.
Me pese me the important a.
Okay. But you promise me there.
No further question.
What? Yeah, the provision now. Oma tum for them appointment. Or Article 72. onuna yeka per court ninchim as to whether there sebio them provision no council of state for one adwintro woman no oye ohye zema mampanyin de onzido anaso de afutu bi a was member president wa appointment no president butuma yemope. That is basically it.
Okay.
Now masamnye de omahin da mama Mrs. Charlotte Osei Omampanyin is in Akoma Judicial Council under Article 1442. Not once, not twice, not thrice, but more. Inye once. Onye mpene bien, inye mpene basa, but obor. Abribia odidini ko. The Judicial Council for one channel 1 year vetting. No one fanizin kan non ko Supreme Court. And this Judicial Council will reject his in. And under the process of appointment under Article 1442, no, the president will make a nomination. Chief Justice is a nomination. Attorney General a nomination. Ghana Bar Association was a nomination. Now was the Akoma Judicial Council. Constitution is on the advice of the Judicial Council in consultation with the Council of State and with the prior approval of Parliament. Into nominations in a bar, Okodu Judicial Council. And what were you were friend vetting. Now why interview? Into what you need now we are. Then when you be a film though, I was a and qualify a crowd. Now the moon coffee no what qualify. Now I submit a list. Was a list no come on Mampina on a constitution in consultation with Council of State. And when the hand constitution uses the language in consultation with Council of State or use on the advice. And now why your appointment? Now constitution is to say so Mampina ya dama appointment now or it was about to Parliament. The Parliament here then were approved. Now I'm saying there, yanda mami, nizina ko if your mampenyin no impena na numbre. And nina no Judicial Council for say they be mami unqualified do obey a Supreme Court judge. Intino nidin on ba apumpo for
eba neko
on go through the vetting. Good. Now say Sarah, ye na yenyim the rule of law. Na far by anyi there. Ye nyina ye bezim brado. Ye nya ye gitumi there. Mambra ne kan na yezi yeden, yezi yedwuma. Obiara nyi ho a oye ne pede. Obatena ho na obize ohyebi izezi no do apart from mambra.
Repeat that.
Obiara nyi ho oye ne pe. The obize ohye bi bezi no do apart from mbra. Oman na atase. Na se obiara so etase de yezimbra iri edwuma no you expect there penyin biara abufra be biara obi a wodi tuma ahye nse biara oboboa no zimbra ye edwuma na se sara asemi Richard Sky na asemi a me no lawyer okofi Supreme Court am a date there Attorney General on file in the defense because time I credit na Attorney General time I do file defense 1 year mbran awen into obesre court yaji tum do on file Supreme Court amani tum on file ni defense wa file ni defense Supreme Court amani date there yenko court na yenka argue oye 14 July ye wia na wa am date for judgment na no ma me be say in perfume out of the blue enwa inso anto ewiambo yeti and there was announcement bi akodo the man announcement akodo ni there o man penyin why exercise ni tuma constitutions aman ma why appointment
okay mpacho mamenti adi wiase se okodan Supreme Court
for interpretation
so omoma onchirimu no but akwansidie ema the say a constitutional requirement.
That's right.
Ma His Excellency on the advice of the Council of State, otusa na mono a consider manana.
Medase. Omayin. Last year, Abu Ramadan was the Assembly condemned Supreme Court. Only you there, yen health insurance card or your proof of a citizenship ana. And now number 2, Sadam not to swa obise Supreme Court the Anna but to me the health insurance card is evidence that register as a voter now. Time a okodu one a work as some Supreme Court. Now electoral commission so re advert. What fix one day to open the registration process. Supreme Court one electoral commission they look. Say asam bahanu for interpretation.
You hold on.
Na say bedase. Na say anamoni into dadawa. You hold on. It operates that process because Supreme Court you don't make an application de binum sabi binum kada or they call apply for injunction. Supreme Court you don't apply. You don't make an injunction application. There a key application there. Supreme Court no one yana them. Once asam one can and a nyimpani here the margin
don't make a move.
You don't make a move. Supreme Court can clear. No, until electoral committee order one there. The matter is before them for interpretation. Until can no one way. Nature no Sabakaya Benjamin you mention Winneba fishermen a pay electoral area a Brenton Asama Mizukro court. A Bakaya time I ever court na electoral commission for then warrior advert. What's about to happen the following Monday. Iti anopana ye do court na judge could be Sunday. Eja kwasha den anye biara Supreme Court practice no sabe etasa. Ne inyi me there asama about to have for interpretation. Asama ye ke nyimpa no or challenge the constitutionality of processing. Wuso iguda den eye. Inti epede iti enyizima court na de pede bu court ni ntia. One fine yejuma as it change yes I could be Supreme Court saying beside and you bring what the advert be was what radio now some are working what ya now want it and one age question then say oh in fact otu no client no for babaka there media houses no we nya message no them no kada no they are making another order there won't jay kasana na referee last year Mr. KCB court were University of Cape Coast no Supreme Court and the Sopokunti no for interpretation. You do know Supreme Court be said there. And you biara time assembly but one. Have they still gone ahead to conduct the SRC elections? In a lawyers no, assassin no one task you know what's in job. No say hey, into money me that somebody have for interpretation it operates as a stay now. Later na yet na mama so my lord. In fact, a SRC election 1 year when we serve them no was oh non adjubro. Recently, there is this other case about whether or not a civil servant or a public servant can hold an executive position in a party. Make sure they discuss it.
Yeah.
It is for judgment 15 July. Many Widiba highway official be Ako Supreme Court there or your NDC chairman, but in Brani Yaden, Emmanuel. Supreme Court presided over by Justice Sofia Kufu. Obi said that Anye Biara, Asam no bear no. At the time I filing, Nkofun will go ahead where your election and now where your election and sign a year file. So it's so clear there. Sebi. So as some got done Supreme Court.
Stay.
It operates as a stay until determination. Now let me give you another example. Car power. And the car power is at the Supreme Court. Now because car power, the contract was executed, the bank guarantee was executed. The comfort letter was also written before Ansana Yedre Kokotin. I cannot go and say there, Sebi, won't because Yedre Kroya Ansana, where then? Well, Yedre Ko. So in that case, no, determine consequential orders be boho. It could be the court determined that indeed, as in or a parliament. It's a matter of abandon baba for what ratification. Then on menu then onya ne kan kom nti no ma hawa ma wanye there say yen nyina ye embra no tum there ye embra ye dwuma nimpan on fan with status yen nya yen fa embra ye dwuma to allow for certainty, to allow for them comfortable with the embra wo tum but odubi na say aye there we want to spite ye pede ye yazin in a way there oh and yet them not or to them naza oh particularly so when the same person was using a ma anyeye Since you are chairman of electoral commission, it's equivalent to court of appeal judge. Sending them. Okay? So is it the case there? The authorities want to undermine the smooth administration of justice? That is a question.
I see. It's an elaborate area.
Yeah. Omahine, I'm say, Minian or the Niema Minu na boom. Nti me chemu minu, no deal with the competence. Competence, if we baby or can say, Mameno, the Dean Crabba up for appointment as a judge, Mama shooting it down on several occasions. It borders on competence. And now they told me, the process, the procedure, a common fast while appointing, these are two completely different. Because so all can't procedure now affecting my men. All can't competence, I agree, affected the appointee and on menu by arguing. Now, my main competence, no, the I will find it extremely difficult. Some say will be a year argument, say, because will be appointed as a Supreme Court judge into to mayor commissioner. I mean, quite in our constitution, say, I will say necessarily, you should qualify to be a judge and suddenly appoint you as a commissioner. Afarijan, he doesn't qualify to be appointed as a judge. He doesn't. Afarijan, all court retirement. So me, I am not privy to the information. Please. So that is the point. So that is the point. So that fantastic. Even it goes to buttress my point.
Sure, that's why I want to help you there.
Do you understand? So you don't need to be a lawyer before I answer about a electoral commissioner. So until the fact I'm not privy to the information, I can't say my meaning.
Yes, some basis, So you are saying, sir, any Ghanaian, say Council of State for who your competence are, they can recommend you for that position. Is
fantastic?
That on that basis. Generally. But say in that sense, is it about who pay out generally?
By case in the context.
Okay. So the impression he wanted to create, as if look, Obia, Nidiaba, Bakumianu, I didn't think appointment as commissioner. That is the impression. So as if say, because one qualified to be a judge, she doesn't also qualify to be a commissioner.
The caveat, the status of an EC commissioner equates to that of an appeals court judge.
That one is, there's no ambiguity in it. The constitution is clear, but your acquired first will be a judge, and it is different from acquired first will be a commissioner, though their status is the same.
So you should be mindful of NIPA ordinary court because or that status of an appeal court judge.
I agree
and
with
what
you.
goes into being an appeal court judge, we should have some semblance because NIPA no be commissioner.
No makacho say. Or say okoye appeal court judge. Or say usuyamra. Or say usuyamra. You must be a lawyer or you obi a usuyamra. And I make sure say obi a kwakoye commissioner. And necessary and bibi chinchine say or say usuyamra and san wa babe. Inti Niema mienu no, although baby abedru bia no, position no, the same there, but there were quite na ye de eko ni mienu nyina no, necessarily the same.
My difficulty is that I am unable to be a finance person at a banking institution when I have absolutely no idea about what goes into finance. Simply because me kontinawa, enya go na me kodu, konta bank hon konta na me kobu. So lack of that knowledge or that bit of finance, a problem. What are you I'm inferring here, say status of an appeal court judge and that of a commissioner. What did you say the same status?
Yeah, they don't do the same work. Though the same status doesn't mean they do the same work. Please, the same status, it doesn't mean that they do the same work.
Okay.
Until that impression now you person creating, and no, it doesn't suffice. Mame no social credentials are and for me, I've made this argument on several platforms. Appointment too. Yes, for me, in my layman point of view, he has only done reshuffling. If you will be any problem, say, or handle institution like NCC, why should we have a problem? So about handle electoral commission, unless of course the NCC is an institution.
It should be the NCC in ECMO.
omo dwumadi omo die enye pe ACCA enhwe me ntoaba ba yisi ehwe me toaba but NCC no so ehwe etuyefo educate e wo ye mra Ghana ye mra ho ene ya sede a wo se ye e wo mai mu. It's an institution of the state. Electoral Commission is an institution of the state. And so we qualify say I was say wo ye odisa adwuma no na ene ye boni din na ye nya concrete idea be against ono a na say we are jittering na. I don't see where we are coming from.
Okay,
but you see,
lawyer,
come on, me flow.
Before bore me with questions. Lawyer, then it is like more and more cases are or the references in Nana. A chance I said no, I could die in court to bad time penny. I know your procedure. I'm about home coho. I know your procedure. I'm catch us and me. I was dealing with the competence. Okay. The bar, you the procedure. Okay. And it's our share. So I near when the background and criteria they be go akwa me mumu personally I'm convinced say obetima yadwuma, especially when I nyina say e ma so ye pese ye peja omumu bibia be ma betumi aye no oba so betumi aye. I think that a plus efa sa gender ade aye nyina yakon ho na unless say ye dwuma die ni ma no ye hu say dwuma die ade ama we die untumi nni anasa why bibia disappoint ye ya then ye nyina be so ma me ebia. But for now dwuma die a wadie ene baby o wan say be na free ho no onye bibia ebe me yakwan me aka say ontumi nya sa adwuma no. Nti for me my young farmer yourself and you see the be one year I'm not saying that is a reality but 1 year obibeka say oh MPP for no omo sha prepare grounds for defeat omo per reason be oh ye kra ma me kra ye kan so ontumi nya adwuma no ye kra ma me kra ka say o ye NDC ni ye kra ma me kra ka say o ye we. Nti no some people be who ni say sa grounds no na mo person mo prepare. But of course me am here sabi the fact is say NDC are buying and I say if John Dramani Mahama are buying appointment doesn't mean say oba na oye no it is not in my interest. I met now why and yet his excellency John Jerry Rawlings and they appointed Yewura Afarijan yan as a party appointed yan lose elections 2 times in this country. Even some of the elections in 2004, we contested it and we still believe, say, that election, the crown, it was Sankey winning. But that man was appointed by the former president, John Jerry Rawlings. Until we have precedents in this country. So as for my many competence there, we need problem be now the procedure. Oh, conditions are papa now there was that element of warning from the Supreme Court. Conditions are precedents about citing there was that element of warning from the Supreme Court. How?
Say, ye pay interpretation. Adenti and a more running advert into Munyai. That is an order. So what I say. Now, your constitution, and sometimes, I do every day. I'm on your some remu kakra, ebinum to be and me one of the people I mean Tiasio. Constitution is clear. This is not the first time. Yeah. And the fact is say.
Why do you say it's clear? If it's clear, I could go for city for interpretation.
Well, interpretation there, sabi Metias na say baby I who say clear no. Who say clear, you can go for interpretation.
So that does not make it outright.
So I can say it is clear. As far as I've not gone for interpretation, I was Supreme Court no make me say clear. Me Metias the on no I go Supreme Court no. So what I say because when you say you use say ebe there say no the not Tias no nyina mfa nya adwuma will go in that direction. I have no problem. But for now the precedents are Abba Yewura John Jerry Rawlings IAB Yewura Akufo IAB obi anko for interpretation. Yewura John Dramani Mahama so eba be yebe no me de Metias and yenya bibia MY yenya ebema me kwan say me for interpretation.
It doesn't mean also say Jerry John Rawlings, His Excellency, J. Kufo, His Excellency, it too san amona.
Doesn't mean it's right. I agree with you. That one there's meaning to me you agree on that point. That's why they are in court for interpretation. But me I'm a Tiasi, no. If he said there's nothing wrong with court.
What's your understanding of Supreme Court in Newman? Say that there are some court down Supreme Court for interpretation or two things. Or see, if you want to send a share dada, in no. on hwese se Supreme Court bua e ho sunsuaso no e na be mani pa na jai anase obeto aso ba bi wo ha de yemfa titiri ne de yemfa asem no yentu ho na mon kwa asem ade akono yentu ho na mon kwa no it is just that a year was say once ye de akoda in Supreme Court say esrewa padaroma ye penchiri mu no e say otiase say any kwan say okudi sa nkomo no kwa bi because onya nhyase ko pim say enchiri mu beba every court bata ho no yentu asa asem so.
You see ye komo pa omo nchire mu na omo pe no a omo court no why na catch say e affect the appointment crisis here
yenyina ha na yentwa humility ba komra wadaroma mesre opi ye ba ye beto asa nkomo we so bi say ye tie ho ase yi ansa na ye free ha ye kwa ba. So you're lucky about Fatih Asaba, a lot of lawyers and politicians.
I'm not a lawyer yet.
We say a lot of lawyers and politicians do the questions about it. One
of the things the lawyers frown on the cry say, so when you law, can not from lawyer cry, and you know he say, who's your lawyer? Law, no, we never.
Okay, so Babusa a lot of questions, but I can't do it because they want to seek some interpretation as you are seeking there. It always be something to be
very well. Oh, you know, your custom need be echo cancer. Oh, you need problem with the constitution. Say, members of Council of State, no, only two or my penny for. Name afutu no, afutu no, or my penny bet me a fat, and as my penny bet me a traction. And yes, I had a copy. Side interpretation, I had a copy. So
simple as I'm
okay, and I'm not kind.
But it's simple, sir. Because some back court can be me as the whole thing.
Yes,
enough from sir.
Yes, I'm okay.
But you think that it's just a simple situation.
Who besides the damn potty in the work quarter or Kusiki? Yeah. Or see, foot you a Mrapono Amma, Council of State members not quite so moon to paying for in the appointment. Naso. As I foot you know between no as to say on penny between the attention I had your pay and as a and Chester was so fast okay son or pay interpretation for me who boni bia on penny appointment in why of course obi with evidence Council of State a foot you now or mutu on penny and fat and or the or yeah your pay so
who here dance
here even if the verdict is given clearly so I was say Omanpanyi or fat members of Council of State or Mafutu no chance for the appointment. Usabe prove so in this case no afutu members of Council of State no more than Omanpanyi no and yet no so eno ya or the appointment no. For me enya dia we no was say training. I don't see anything wrong with this appointment, and as electoral commissioner ye independent body no yes, support, especially the political parties. Now, whom could he say, train a hat, near trouble way, near train time as an institution, no, our mobile bay managing the elections of this country. No, I was saying, it's our responsibility, the media, the political parties, everybody. I was saying, keep us our institution, no, sacred. Now, Omutimi did you ma in here, and I said, never that, Nedemaye. To see, no. That doesn't mean something to mean secure for interpretation. This will not be the last time you be appointed what do you call it a commissioner. It may feel say interpretation contrary to which of course for me it will be very difficult for anybody to establish what contrary to the verdict Supreme Court no
okay.
Maybe there I don't see anything wrong with it. But the interpretation, I'm not against it.
1760 text message line in February. Now, Yenji Brain to make come out. First question for you. Ira Broja Jenfi. I say the near Jin Komo Aye do name of Basho Busa say Mampeyi Brana or court, you know. I am a court and finance and sense or Mampeyi National Assembly in the course. The Dika Barano. My Jim.
Time election petition. As I'm not account.
Correct.
A better election petition at the time hearing or starting per the constitutional provision. The man had already been sworn in, okay, as head of state. If relate to election petition were not in court for interpretation. Were not in court for interpretation. Yankode embrebi one task into one trip. Why election? And election also sabio no procedures, no one bro or cheddar and tasa and a mono day too. Into no Nenizimara. These are two unrelated.
They are very, very related. Please, men to and go behind this. Look, the verdict of Supreme Court, and Quebec me as the status of a company. So what I say, although any interpretation, but please,
I can't do with the greatest respect. Deputy Minister, I mean on your may change your approach. If you mean Yadrina, Cadet and you mean Yadrin. I ask a question.
Very well.
Obisa question there. Sebi. What is the difference between ma orisi and ma osi during the election petition? May answer you there. There is no relationship for the following reasons. One, election petition, it was not on interpretation. How does it make it them to
fine, if that word is
retracted. I mean, or a petition.
That's okay.
And two, election petition, we had a CI 75, we had a whole procedure over how to go about it when you disagree with the verdict. So these are the two fundamental reasons why that is completely different from this issue of interpretation or Supreme Court.
There are a lot of questions.
No problem. Oh, if the word he's my colleague, word say futuaguaman for nation on pair, I have retracted that particular word. But you see, Obiko Supreme Court or Kwakoji Inchirimu bia Inchirimu. Wako Supreme Court say Okoye no yekoto aba mra yedi eto aba no yabuso. So what I say? Fine, let's even call it whatever you want to call it, semantics.
Because
but you see,
semantics.
Come on. Then we all put up our various defense. You have been even come back, but we can agree. Say, this is it. Say, Anamwa, Nanado, Jacob Tanka, and the Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, it took call a Supreme Court. Oman complaint to Omun Susian say, not the Akoson, I ain't Trachia. But yes, you see, Omo, your faculty quaso. It's almost 2 million if the woman is self at all.
Fine, let me, and it doesn't change my argument at all. The person say, Obisa say, Adenti, Enna, election petition, young Casa Mampany, and yet so what you say. Because Obisa, I don't know Obisa because say a court sell Mampany 84, and as a verdict, no, say I'm caught in the interest of a Mampany, it to me as a son Mampany, the status on the bois. So what you say. So, and sir, or no pay his argument, you know, or no so feel say interpretation, no, a court now court senior also my company first the appointment now, and also best a appointment, no. So what I say, in this animal me anyway, at the end of the day, no, a benyon so I swore, I would the way can I get so. And unti, sir, your mamma, penny quiet a mani boo or mine, a bra try and a coswa. Adenti and I was said Supreme Court and such a man appointment. I'm in interpretation we and son our appointment. That is it.
Mamam I mean, I respect.
Mpacho tie in so for Penny or say Opamacho he wants to remain safe because of Ghana. The there is protected. But a sorry location in there, Ufi Boomeranga,
doesn't need to.
That's something simple. Or see, constitution here clear. Say, Quaya man paying for so any council of any Nipano. Inti how ben constitution on Tiasia and as I watch that now. Yes,
so for when is Imara Merun Tum and Ka Masama our court, but me Jesus say follow a Mayer Kamahaya Mayer Piatra there, Article 72 or here in Chim Asam Nanyan. Brahma Kwande a Munkamasam wo aha because as no it was Supreme Court. Nti majis the so oko internet do statement of case in when the binum they making available on the net. Nti no obotum wenya na wakan then obate hen asefo.
Okay.
Now omahin mamema ncheme bi Supreme Court yekoho wo nzama beye ebasa bido. Either there ekoho on appeal a ofi Court of Appeal oze ba won nchen. Either there ekoho under one Article 132 oche there High Court aye bibi onyi mbekwado ikbori say seek one supervisory jurisdiction. Now botum so akọ Supreme Court the way ayakwe the ikesik interpretation. And the BB today electoral petition election petition also very unique on its own. Oche there when in say abato assembly wasa as a presidential candidate, you know, what my Supreme Court the original jurisdiction to hear the matter. And no, our embrace order with some regulations though, or the Supreme Court in po, or assembly do on daily basis. Now if you call Supreme Court on appeal from the Court of Appeal, enuntum kakade sabio assembly do on appeal into it operates as a state. I would never say that. It is not the case. If equal Supreme Court challenging the decision of a High Court, the High Court make order being tipede Supreme Court will quash. Okay, your friends say sure right. Into munkade because I file adeno at the Supreme Court for same to be quashing into no, it operates as a state. And some American it's strictly on interpretation. And in America or your Supreme Court nankasa one in Mukasa on 2 occasions, I mean, my witness. So it answers it.
Okay. Let the Supreme Court say appointment now, we are yet.
Oh, no, I don't think that is what he's seeking.
I'm saying that, say, at Assembly da or Nimono, or more angry, more Supreme Court in country Ghana for say, Assembly Bede Nimono, in the Queen's Oman, yes, appointment.
Oh, don't worry, on the 14th of July.
Let them say,
Sebio, Sanyankupon, Oziana Bonichain, no Oziana Kwa, Ozichana. Supreme Court, Yabokwe Kudubia. Na me ACBRN, which is the judges in Warsaw, what?
You see, in my explanation, I'm being very careful because I know that no matter what, the next adjourned date, it will be one of their arguments. It's a Assembly don't want him no one paying. Please. Man, please. That is what I feel.
No, please.
That is my opinion. Please don't draw this opinion. No, my opinion. To you want to force me to draw it.
Please allow me to. You are coming to join the fraternity. At least for now, there are some do's and don'ts. I should be able to guide you. If you disagree with me, go ahead and say.
Fine. So I disagree with you. Allow me to make my point. I'm convinced. It's a pair an argument. And pair what may matter. Or more can. It is clear, say, the next adjourned date, it is possible, say, Ombe raise the issue of this appointment. And then the Attorney General should also be prepared enough to also put up a defense. And in as much as or no, I am very careful on debate na same way or this platform so no. In order for ABI Obi or the Kwakotwe man so no, I be prepared against them. I must also, because I'm coming from the government. So what I say, in as much as I make sure margin, if you are not very careful, you become Habiano. You're interpreting as the position of government. And so we are all very careful. When they meet in the Supreme Court, that's the Supreme Court, if you say the appointment is not any the right thing to do, they will say so, and we'll come back and debate it. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, but how be, even if, forgive me, you are marking, or how be so called, you say, because it be a sida. How be say, or judge in paying for agencies to say, I say me I became Pokana and I'm on to be a decaying now. I'm trying to me,
I will be surprised when Rizzi, I'll be very surprised. As a lawyer, you're training, so we are a lawyer. I will be extremely surprised if he doesn't raise this issue in the Supreme Court.
Okay, some of your text messages about please Omani.
Just to conclude on this one.
Remember when the time,
me bisa Ghana for asamko yepe embra yeza yedwuma na de yepe de ye yaze based on convenience.
All right, so former DC MC for Techiman, Prince Donyina, almost something similar to what you're saying.
Thank you.
Prince Donyina, former MC Techiman, Osimi Musa said, Akando must base his argument on law. The two are different. Seeking interpretation on a constitutional provision is different in law from calling on the court to declare an act unlawful. The outcome of both may lead to a similar action, but that does not make the two the same.
I have not said so.
Akando is entitled to his opinion, but his opinion is not the law, in as much as he is not basing his argument on law.
No lawyer. Lawyer be anywhere, no opinion require the law. The law is always in the bosom of the judge.
Okay.
So I just say, and the working, I think we are not here and can be different. Me catch will say, me can mention my argument national. Me catch say they are semantics. Now, the end effect of both, no, a bit more similar. Man can waha.
Okay.
The effect now, my judgment, and that is why the tester, no, besides our question, no, he was not in any way suggesting say the two are the same. Lawyer, no, and the man the interpretation said, look, the two are not the same. And I mean, me said, look, though they are not the same, and I use the word semantics if you clearly and I mean remember, though they are not the same, but verdict way the same effect.
Okay, all right. So please, your team should come to Winneba and find out what's happening with our rural banks. They are not releasing people's money.
Yeah,
that is with them. You are coming from that angle.
I am rural banks. Rural banks they are in serious financial crisis. Or how they are going through some liquidity problem. If you're the Bank of Ghana and ARB Apex,
Winneba,
they are the supervisor. Yeah.
All right. So
but generally rural banks are not doing well.
Okay.
Not only Winneba, most rural banks have closed down.
Oh,
of course. Check. You go to ARB Apex. Not check records. A lot of rural banks will close down because of liquidity problem. Because when they deal with the informal sector. Now the dum so, and now our friend then dollar ya chade or hosidi and kofu when jumaza onkodon. It's affecting a lot of rural bank because informal sector. A one na say a juma koda was 1-to-1. Most people are defaulting.
Okay.
Businesses pay on kodo. And a lot of rural banks are collapsing.
Okay, so probably that's why Nanado says Ghana will be in safer hands under his administration. If you can explain for that.
Yes. So Obi Kade, Ghana will be under safer hands. Our Nchemokrati, on I there, Oboto Anamona, Obo Yeska Samhuban, Oboto Anamona, Obey Proy na Katasi Shefi. Mama, one single example. Menkase piano be. Eyi esate Maslock o man payin kufo e na establish it. Infida. Yen oye sika fangu sika ye obey. Ministry of Finance was a one Maslock 35 million Ghana cedi there. One fan bo nkofo bosia. Piak efo worker ka ye hwehwem. Ministry of Finance o ye dis kana ma Maslock. Wo tu won anamon wo kro Maslock is wonye sika bia. Maslock football parliament yenye wo ye hwehwem wo so 2013 2014 when yes kebia. Meanwhile our Ministry of Finance who were record mu there wa transfer 35 million was akama Maslock. Question ye be saying there whereabout of 35 million no away. Oh, I'm telling you the truth. You want me to give you the Maslock report, the PIAC report? Is there 35 million from Maslock chief executive? I will make sure that you can say yes. I could be the mutual in Jabia. I will produce on friends. Yeah, maybe some them mammy and one thing in there. And ye biara 35 million. No, so Obaba maybe I'm not paying a man is canal. I'm telling you the truth. Am I mean to better Hanuna? Menkase intie abenya menyindi injinado. And I'm go obinini mase. You them no was it a term. Make no correct the PIAC. One report PIAC established one through Act 815. One year kade or your various interest groups say afibiano yen fangu sikano one year shushin. And yet only a Maslock no mamponting what's warrior a market be. Consultant nisikan kotin over the cost of the project. Consultant nisika would you about the cost of the project. Instead, say there was there the Eco Brigade, Odu baby or man paying the moon to your cow, 1 year shim in Damazin. 2013, another 20 million BR, or then to what they call a construction of roads. It was brown and half for one village base there. What diverted the Michigan was the Couture Eco Brigade. No so piak for reporting of whom. Our Ministry of Finance was with him, Moya ya, the Michigan Oko Fee Eco Brigade. Eco Brigade Bisodo and one as a Zoom Lion. Into no, Proyina Casashana or Kodo, or how many, Ono Nanado, Ozi Ahubrase, Ozi Kade, Sanyami Adom, Nase, Oba, Oboto Anamana, Ghana Yesika Saman, Obokoye, Dam Robeya, Yenara, Yambotoyin, because more Kodono, it took Mundo Bibe say self-inflicted. Yankasa, and Shada Yenya, and the way Yama Kwanman Kofu was Yesika Samia Basa, on Ama Yenya Yamuchi, IMF are Yakri. Marco a photocopy of a graphic, one front page report in the second week of April. May take a break kakra. BBNT. Inte be about Ms. Bama who produce an ozamo. Now I can front page and all the business say, I hear na ye war MPP and I ye abayafa. Yere kasa. Oh ya ye no wo fi there. Sebe yasu ye pe 2 minutes. Ye pedi ye kasa me to go n'anim ase. And I ye din kontompo bi. Ye from there bi. Na one kasa aza war ye. Amembu bɔne no nya yɛ pɛ ne yehu am ayi ekwa abrochi abrofa yɛ nyi zi nkita wunya o da wonanim IMF won panyin ɔse I am a wɔfa program na ya abada yɛ be pesika wɔ wɔn nkyɛn ɔnam da yankasa yentum yanhwɛ yɛn ɔyɛ revenue no do yɛn ɔno ntina yɛn wakyerɛ nya mi o. That interview was granted to Graphic by the IMF boss. And Graphic was bold to make it a front page publication. Omayin, I would make sure that in there, mark a photocopy of Graphic front. Now I can then menya NDC in your be defend there. Asama, Mamina can obwa. Mamina can the master the yen to me answer all years secretary. NDC in to me amba out, amba criticize IMF chief. And so Sir Dr. Baumian ordered the same case and audible to go. And check. Wosonumu hwe inde baby a cedi wedu cedi a kafa 4 cedi 80 pesos. Yes, of course, black market commercial 4 oh my 4 na 4.5 no yen na answer 4 na 4.5 and then answer in the last week this week
if the dollar is 4.8 then the pound is saying
pound then say what 6 or nam 7 ho baby na ebakaya somewhere October November kama cocoa bosia ne bear no cocoa bosia bear no na Sydney is stable kakra what did they me kai menyim program menyim feelings of fozu kwache ye ko was all the city has been stable the city is stable opinion bi amemenya economist into economics issues no me peda mezima no botutum but opinion bi oye economist us there say you bon Sydney's real stability ye man ye ho ba busum esia. And the opinion be not danka or is a neutrodo danka or is a neutrodo. Since yara a cocoa na yaka kobo busa de yadri kwa cotton. And you da busa na yaten cocoa tonnage yes yepe 1 million tons as we speak. Cocoa season or bedewe yo. Yenya even 500,000 tons. Opinion be a bit of question, Dr. Koto Afriye. We be a finance minister, the Oma tonnage yenya so far. Won't you? And then the cocoa sikano wa divert. In him there, a cocoa board, and there was award the contract for Ruta. Oma a aware there cocoa board will award the contract for Ruta now. A aware cocoa board. A aware there was award the contract for Ruta now. Tell the Bibiara Ayabasa. Was say your man in zaman koye Ghana sika saman koye the last time sika letter it just be Gabriel Chowe the judgment debt auctioning judgment debt the obi make offer the eteka abaimun eteka ontua wo ka man na wo so man contract so one case wo company mpo dam na be abai zeka because of obligatory contractor one chem one Professor Mills we Professor Mills, Oma instruction that one abrogate the contract. No, we could check contract. And what the Professor was leading? And more good gun and any massy 197 million. Now, what's the entry? Company empire ready there. What best time why you do? No one Magana Bay and Bre. Must oh, they be money 1 year contract. We are must okay, Master Margin.
So Ghana is safe under Nanado.
I am saying that with the right measures and policies, free education, yeah, number one, very key. And Ghana was safe under Kufuor. Share health insurance policy, I was by. Next, Nanado said that health and education were in the Median. And never care. Time all can free education. Yen was in a treaty. What's on to me yet? Or the other one. And so we fed that about some of my paying back in Parliament. Also, free education or possible. Nankasa or introduce free education. Next year, qualify it.
Next year,
what that? Next year. Election year. It's a free education and Adro can own to me yet. Make Adom and paying Kokuma. So I say, it's an Anado promise free education. I'm sure that in Framampo, Nanado Bacade, or promise free air. Oh, what's an attribute? Or your man paying none anymore. Make me share what TV do. And soon there, in there. Manka Samaja to me there with the correct or the policy framework be able to go. Ebe sure many sikadu yenu. But to me introduce free education.
Okay.
And because of politics, was we introduce free education 2016. Oh, Uchapo Pao. Uchapo.
All right. I'm saying one man a political platform, free range. Topic here, debate way, and yet and no who be cry and kind, and I'll base my argument and I'll read a text from Sir topic here, Modia Mai and son of my Nasi. But the free range name about Kumi Nubio have a man touching on because me dear Chira, if I mean to me.
The 2016 presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, is confident that the future of the party is in safe hands. Following the emergence of young, intelligent men and women who have been elected in the ongoing parliamentary primaries of the party. According to him, the courage exhibited by delegates in the constituencies that have seen young candidates being elected is a clear sign that delegates of the party have faith in their abilities and are confident that they can also deliver victory.
Exactly. And you want to say, maybe you're quite near free range.
I asked a question that MPP and Nanado's watch, is safe. It's a Ghana,
now, Neman Bakumi Nubia or Kaya, I was a walker a performer. Me, I didn't go there because I don't know much about fishing. Yangumi or Puano. I mean, constituencies so and not a Puano. But and sounds I made 24 so Kaku someone onion research ye and son of Kaku. It is never out of place. Say, and ne and cuckoo board for a year. Akwan. The TN say, even budgeter, or modi beto ye nim, menini no approve ye no. No work copy, me work copy. Ye the shame say, cuckoo board be ye kwan. It is in it. Yes.
O mine Bocho, sorry. O mine. Bocho, Ehundamazia.
Oh,
wow. No. I mean, 15%. There will say to petrol, maybe 15% will come. There was not to petrol 15%.
But I had the floor. Nti enye out of place intricacy we get jai.
Mpocho maybe say menka
that is it.
Menka
that's it.
Nti enye out of place if be cocoa rose anu nti no a part of sika cocoa board for eye edisiesie akwan binom wo cocoa ba bia cocoa wo nti what say cocoa board ya akwan ya bisamu ye it is never out of place. They told me man person me yana sama ba my issue say sa free education na nado eka in 2012 no different from the free education man panyi implementi enya de kro na nado call ya BBC ebisa say sika sen kwa na ode be bohu getire ni ade a so ba be ka che Ghana fo ya eno ye de brobore ho up to na ye hu ani so ya eno no ye different we no ye de nkonta abetu dwa ye say ye free senior high school, yes, school are dying, and the length and breadth of this country, Ukobebia, Yashase Besia, Yashase, IAC, day senior high school, see, and Sana, yet to me, I am progressively free. Say, look, young fansha same free one more Mbeko day schools, and Sana Yakoyanim. In January, I am different from Senado, back and say, oh, be our boarding house, or be our hero, Ninano, all of a sudden they're very free. They are two completely different things altogether. Now, I will base my argument on MPP's future in safe hands. MPP's future in safe hands on that Akufo-Addo. So what kind side we are? What the amount say me jina so ne nkasa ya? Or say or kasa because and not there. Yenya mabru binu mu omayi omuti we MPP mu. Enu nti MPP future ay brighter. Ye jai omayi sure omunsa they are under safe hands. That is the reason. That is the contest. That is the contest, and I thank God. The Yankopon say ene MPP for who side way. Any attempt by His Excellency the late President John Atani, any the current President John Dramani Mahama to appoint any youth in this country as a minister or a deputy minister, there was that attempt by the MPP to ridicule and discredit. Any attempt. And I can name them.
But my main go back to what's the emphasis is on young,
fantastic,
intelligent,
fantastic men and women.
Very well.
So, in appointing the youth, no.
Unless, of course,
in appointing the youth, these are an yardstick, or they measure in call for my banner. It's also incumbent on you to also tell us. Say most of this is it, or let's be deficiency be by. His emphasis is on young and intelligent. So that's it.
I am saying, say, yen yes no. Appointed, even at the point in democracy, a jai or many actual nkwala and so. They never told us at any point in time, saying nkwala mode or mine monocran, they are not intelligent. So, more ridiculous. It me can't be a national service person you appointed. What are they in the public eye? No, person he has nothing to offer Ghanaians.
But if that is the case, sir, memo in your test run. So will be national service now straight away to be a deputy minister. Let's call a spade a spade. It doesn't help the country.
You yourself, we need young and energetic people. Young, energetic and intelligent people. So even if and now I say, Obi Crown national service, but the constituents now deeming a right to elect him as their candidate to go to parliament. He has even not done national service.
Solving a constituency problem is different from that of a national appeal.
Hey, you have no idea. Then I'm telling you, you have no idea.
Then constituency is a different.
You have no idea. To be a member of parliament,
constituency is difficult,
and yet even more tedious. If you're a member of parliament, and don't think that it is only restricted to constituency. It is a national issue. If you're a member of parliament, you go outside the country to represent the nation, the state.
So Nana got it wrong, or MPP got it wrong.
They got it wrong. I have an issue. And until I say, and they are coming back to realize, say, they should come back and apologize to one more almost there was nothing in them. We, right from Jerry Wallace Abreso, in fact, if you saw him, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama can say, there's this saying that the future belongs to the youth or the young ones. But he thinks that the youth of this country must start leading today. He thinks that they must start leading to it. And who say, look, the NDC is becoming attractive to the youth these days. So they must revise their notes.
Quickly.
Number 5 year no. Because we have a succession plan. We are in this more. There was what is you buy Professor Mills or mama any ministerial appointment. No. Do you share Professor Mills' appointment anymore? Tamana Ankara to more ministers or one deputy no. Those days no. No, we don't go front line as the ministers. Few of them have come on opportunity to but few of them. Oh, from Professor Mills Mreso, I buy John Dramani Mahama Bresu. There are some almost deputies, and then almost about substantive. So for me, it is refreshing. Say, I agree. Say, you to be a winning mono. Yin Sinachi. Yin say, oh, where be any now, yes, at the end of the day, then you backtrack.
Almost say, no more.
Oh,
me say at a point in time omo ka kire say ye jai oman eto nkola man so okujeto omane boama felisofosu kwache Hana Jenny Boache, Hana Bisiu. I mean, all of us.
Okay. All of us had okay. Yeah, me so timi nya daji chire mi.
Yes.
Nti yen komra. Ye ba ube nya daji mi timi so be so chire mi.
Vicky Hammer fa ka.
Ye kwa ba, ye ba be di nkomo. Wrap up na for
1 minute. Me wrap up no. Oh, ye share. Interesting. My family a practical example when I appeared before vetting. This dining hall issue. You know the focus. The focus was that look, let's present Akando as somebody who is just coming from the secondary school, from the dining hall position, and now all of a sudden His Excellency has made him a deputy minister. So let's ridicule him and discredit him. You see, the element of MP, people even didn't know I was MP. People didn't know I have even completed university and I have done a lot of work and I even became a member of parliament. So there's always that attempt
to
ridicule and discredit.
Okay.
Now, when they were in power, they realized something. On opposition, when they were in power, they didn't groom the young ones. You had to be 100 years before they were appointed senior minister.
Probably 70, 100 is too much.
But J.H. minister, no, I say.
This is a deputy minister.
I don't know, so I'm just asking. I'm asking J.H. minister. Minister, how many years? You help me.
I'll help you.
How old was he?
I know. I didn't want to say this. I send you a while, work in the game, but one can begum. Now, Minya, Wama, Mr. Damasemi Botuga.
Only if it's safe.
Oh, it's here. Some Nafanano, Intina Mr. Botuga.
Okay.
In 2009, Naya Wagano Krumha. And now, on Mampenyin Mills are winning the baby call. Or appointed young Ghanaians as ministers and deputy ministers. Tell me or appointed one, or your man paying Dado Rollins, and all back there. Mills worker from a family beer. One take you as in Portugal. Okay, please, can I finish? Can I finish?
It's not true.
Can I finish?
It's a lie. This is a complete lie.
Don't worry.
It's a lie. It's
don't
not true.
Don't worry.
It's not true.
Let me finish.
It's not true.
Oman Payne Rollins was the one, and tomorrow, unfortunately, I will go on the net. Now my print, numbers are brought now. I can ashafo. But for now, let me say it. Oman Payne Rollins was the first to criticize President Mills. There were far inexperienced people.
Hold on.
Two.
Hold on. From a deputy minister in your government, Akando is not making any point. Majority of these inexperienced appointees failed woefully. In any case, MPP has not appointed any youthful. 1 minute. Oh my goodness. Any youthful personnel. These people campaigned vigorously and they were elected. Did anybody complain about Akando, being elected to go to parliament? We are talking about a president who has the power to appoint competent people to run the nation, but rather chose to reward young, incompetent, and inexperienced people.
Somebody in his government.
Yeah. Sorry, I am sorry, but he is rather not making any point. Look at it. No. Let me clarify this point. Let me clarify this point. Look,
Akando.
Let me clarify, please.
But he has raised two issues.
When the people, okay, are elected the young ones, no matter parliament, in our case, some of us were elected by our electorate.
So nobody contested that.
Okuyato was elected by his electorate. The people, he is one of the people who faces some of this. He was elected by the electorate from Isai. Now about parliament, then the constitution says that you have to appoint more than 50% from parliament. No one will say you to be a I can agree. Say, look, there are people and yet sabi age at why?
are you saying say if you grow
wisdom is not in age.
Exactly. So the fact that you are going to be not say be a mistake, that doesn't mean say it lies in the age. And there are a lot of who you agree with me say there are a lot of these young guys they have performed very well. Talk about Omane Boama. Are you telling me say he's not performing? Talk about Haruna Idrisu. Talk about Okujeto Abrokwa. Talk about Felix Fosu-Kwakye. So who? I can agree there was somebody who was fired, and Minyaka Vicky. And that is why Omampanyi fired her. Okay. So you cannot, I mean, what is this point? Some of us were elected by our electorate. Okay. I spent 2 years in parliament before I had my appointment.
Okay, all right. What is coming from your own age?
Oh, that's his opinion. I mean, that enriches.
It's his opinion.
Yes, that enriches debate, no political stance. So I expect his view.
All right.
So, Omampanyi Rollins, criticize Omampanyi Nurse. The wafa inexperienced youths are wanted a member. Nature no Dr. Ekos Piogabra. Only Zobia Bete. Also, Team B for na wire then. Omampanyi knows wafa one. Now, I don't want Minya Akando to say there. Sebio, or ye MPP for. And I will attack President Mills when he appointed the youth. Please, Mr. Nenizimara, MPP for young one was started the matter. Or your Omampanyi Rollins and on ye Spiogabra. Now, recently, Ordinizaba, share Omahin, no young Kofu there, Akando. Or ya mean about Nahanuma, ye debate into Obotu Army Kwamina we use him. People from his own party, MPs from his area on the side. Tell my warrior and deputy minister. Some of them say a bit debater wanted me, Kwamena, to attack him. It was his own party people who were releasing information today the way it will be attacking Sesiari. That Onya qualified them. I looked at his CV. I mean, my furniture, my question is CV. Meaning, now I want to check a because people were after him. I mean, out of my way. Everybody in parliament, including himself, were shocked when I stood up and defended him when we were considering his matter. Now look, this evening now what shown Uncle there, dining hall prefect or your work experience and our employment history. Or your work experience. May your party chairman my ejuma. Yeah. So the way why you need CV he shouldn't be attacked. He himself, I believe, was shocked. I went that way. That was how objective I was. MPP for in young Kofa, what did the master be able to go? It's me, you understand. And is a quadra. Mumbai there or your MPP for now, they were against the appointment of the youth. Maybe if you uncle a video, uncle share a videotape of the response of the first deputy speaker on NCV. Uncle came a recommendation of the appointment committee. I had disagreed with the appointment committee's position on his CV. The appointment committee took a position on his CV. This is not coming from the minority. If or Kakase be there, young friend and politicians who have had the benefit of Mr. President's appointment and they have been criticized, I am telling him there, it is coming from within. And his own example, it took me to silence, his people were going after his blood. There were people, in fact, if one watch it was deferred on 2 occasions, no other will move away. People wanted to deal with him. But I said no. I mean, Nanum Kofuna, because Minya Kakaba, no so Oceanze. Yabatane, ya disagree on each other, and you name Kana. So, Mikade, Debbie, or Katsa on now, or the Oshe, simply be on my employment. Oh, yeah, ma'am. Oh, yeah. Nasoya do on ya, or better. With the employment, they have said, it didn't be called them. Shouldn't push him. If you don't hear, may you galam say, okay, no soon music, small free walk up for you, maybe walk. Say she want to come, but 1 year man. That's correct. me some coffee. Oh yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Oh, so
unfortunately, I cannot comment on it because it has to do with me and my seniors. But
jealous I can't.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
Listen, Mr. To our dream. To our dream.
Okay, so
what's all the baby? Asam you ho me nwe po lawyer nyam. Oya aman he no pedo twam to me. Yeah, me counselor. Na me ye din na eke bi ma. Na so wo lawyer wa ha. Na ayo bi ye me say ye din.
And why you leave
so no client ah. No lawyer ka tell me
the debate is going. I
know what to do.
Some of your text messages. I catch on Adma. It's a special day.
Hey, me and then Mother's Day.
Okay.
And I resign. You see, boss now, more appointing or no. He has resigned from the NCC. That's my information.
This is an information.
It's an information. The people are not changed. They deserve to
lawyers judges. In the mamu wafa, in the major aqua now we shooting. Onyam oyamenana direct onya den chen. Menana kanswa ni kechira into oyamo menana direct. Ofi insuechi. In the ebusue nyara yerekai eku jayewa wozu kun ohwe nonkwa warohum ebusua yerekai or therefore unfunny currency.
Okay.
And the judges are oman watch the catch a producer the omo industry me take a break for 6 weeks. 6 weeks after today in whom I don't want you abotare and the demand mama abatachi since I miss so kakaya when you judge by I bet you chado catch on them the one put says ya 1 minute 10 minutes ago let me take a break and now judges say basa I am general secretary ne papa Cecilia Kranti Ado them mama ni judgment ma kan ni judgment pa na hu de ayo obenfo na sakodi Ado nyankopon for workrancy and lawyers and judges the massam was seen no it nearly broke the back of the judiciary but nyaminti yetintimi inda ye depona judges no ni lawyers wo wenkefiri obia reflect in bribi oduya into rule of law no wo ye we senators ni nyina akando no nkofia because we trace one route PNDC, NDC now.
He's going
he let the black folk.
The only successful person in their party. The only successful person in their party was part of the PNDC. The only successful person was part of the PNDC. You should not sit down and say that.
Some of your text messages.
Omahin. I know you are very fair. That's one thing I know about you.
No.
You demonstrate your fairness with some fluorescent ability
or your literature it is who you agree poetic words obey you have an extra time
160 what you want as a result of the incompetence of this government country project went to 1 year and 3 days of mourning 3 days 3 days
they did it
3 days of mourning.
Okay.
Cholera situation in Accra. CD, should be able to confirm to me to fix your political party. Hey, you have 4 divisions. You have and your party. You have to fix. I said your internal side. Kofi Adam's side. Parliamentary group was side. And on my side. Don't worry.
You need more than 10 years. You need more than 10 years.
We will see.
To fix your own political party. Allegations in the corruption in your own party. This small political party want to manage corruption in MPP.
I have a surprise. Oh, treasurer. national trend.
Don't fall into it because I'm not surprised about anything. So one guy says that what time you are, and I can. This is the what time. Now you are calling very close. Now you are calling very close. Oman has what time. So what is what time? That's what time.